Benny Gantz in 2019 did not make peace with the Palestinians an issue. Both understood it was a loser politically, and it was the surest way to be seen as naive. Still, Netanyahu has been the towering figure whom all other politicians reacted to and were measured against, and he very much set the tone and direction. Even should he win the second election of 2019 and cobble together a new government, he will be more dependent on the right wing. If his legal difficulties produce his resignation, that government would likely act on his call to begin annexations in the West Bank. Even if initially limited to areas that are not controversial in Israel, that will establish a precedent and make it politically harder to stop the drift toward one state for two peoples. Surely the cost of not acquiescing in the settlers' agenda also will go up. As such, his successors will face the reality that drift toward an Arab-Jewish state is accelerating, even as it becomes more costly to try to blunt that drift. What compounds this reality is that the prospects for peace are so poor. The legacy of peacemaking over the last 20 years has produced ever-deepening gaps psychologically and substantively between the Israelis and Palestinians. That legacy has also led to profound disbelief on both sides about the prospects of ever reaching an agreement. And that loss of faith has been compounded by the increasing doubt among Israelis and Palestinians that their leaders are up to making historic decisions. In other words, even if the domestic and regional circumstances were to change for the better, it would be difficult to overcome the profound differences between the two sides and their mutual loss of belief. Neither of us believes that the United States should walk away from the peacemaking effort. Nature abhors a vacuum, and in the Middle East, history shows that the worst forces will always fill any diplomatic void. We favor an effort that produces sufficient small advances to restore a sense of possibility. Real progress on peace has always required both a ground-up approach to show both sides that real, tangible steps can be taken, and a top-down effort to put those steps in a larger political context. The ground-up and top-down strategies also fit the mindsets of both sides. Israelis want to see a process that proves the Palestinians will make commitments and fulfill them, and Palestinians have always wanted to see the end goal guiding the process. From this perspective, shooting for the ultimate deal stands little chance if the context on the ground and between the parties does not change. At the time of this writing, Donald Trump's peace plan has not yet been presented, precisely because the context is not right. Even if the plan is presented, it is not now designed to be the ultimate deal, but rather a plan for having the two sides negotiate such a deal. Having committed so much of our lives to Arab-Israeli-Palestinian peace, we would like to see that happen. Sadly, even the resumption of a negotiating process at this point appears unlikely. Precisely because the prospects of an ultimate deal are low, we believe that Israel, for the sake of its future, cannot sit back and do nothing. A policy of inaction will produce an outcome. Regrettably, it will be a binational Arab-Jewish state. A binational state is neither feasible nor a promising solution. Israelis will not renounce their state as the homeland of the Jewish people, and the Palestinians will not give up on having a state of their own. The Middle East is not post-nationalistic, and the track record in this region of forcing divergent ethnic or sectarian entities into unitary states tends to produce endless bloodshed. Because a one-state outcome is a prescription for enduring conflict and not peace, we decided to do an audiobook that explains why a big, tough decision in Israel will be needed to avoid such an outcome. Some might ask, why are we focused only on Israeli leaders? Don't Palestinians need leaders to make historic choices and decisions? The answer is a resounding yes. But given Palestinian succession, that is becoming less and less likely.